Well, now we are going to discuss about conversion of past continuous tenses active voice into passive voices of this past continuous tense. Okay. Now for this, I have taken my sentence like this in the active voice. Anu was cooking food. So was cooking indicates that in fact I was speaking something in the past continuous tense. Okay. Because what was the structure that we have for this past continuous tense? Subject plus was or were plus before. Okay. It is subject plus was or were plus before. This was the structure that we have discussed in our previous videos. And now, according to the structure, the sentence constructed here is quite correct. Anu was cooking food. In fact, I call that this is my positive active voice. So now we are doing some positive active voices of past continuous tense. So I have taken was cooking. Now I am gonna convert this into passive voice. For this, I got ready my structure for this passive voice. My structure is ready for me. I am saying that this is object plus was or were plus being plus V3 plus by plus subject. So this is my structure for past continuous tense passive voice. Okay. Now coming to object, see I have indicated object like this, and in between, in the middle, in the center, I just replaced it with S. I placed yes, and I also gave plus was or were plus being. This is my main structure for past continuous tense passive voice. Okay, of course it is followed by V3, next by, next subject. That's quite common for us. But the main focus is in this area. See if the subject of, in fact, we are preparing a passive voice. For this, we are adopting the object from active voice to create passive voice. So when this object comes to passive voice, this object becomes subject in the passive voice. So I have written yes in the center. Okay. This is considered as object initially, then later it gets turned up into subject when it comes to passive voice. Alright. Now here in this case you have to see the subject verb agreement with these particular helping verbs. If the subject is singular, always was plus being takes place. Was plus being. If the subject is singular, let me help you out how. She is a singular subject, was being. Okay. Documents is a singular subject. So what is the verb that it is going to accept here? Yeah, was being. In the passive voice, I am not speaking about the active voice. Okay. And the children, it's a singular subject or plural subject? It's plural. So were being. This is what you have to understand. That means if the subject means object is singular, it is accepted by was, and if the objected subject is plural, it is accepted by were. That's what we have did here. So was accepts when it is singular and were accepts when it is plural. That's what we have done. So for our clear and easy understanding, let's convert into a given example. So what is the example that you took? Very good. Anu was cooking food. So in this case, I'm gonna substitute the wordings according to the structure provided. See, in place of in place of object, what is supposed to take? Yeah, if you find it is very difficult for you to find object, first split the given sentence into the respective structures. Anu is a subject, okay, was cooking is verb and food is object. Now take the food here. Food comes to the place of object plus, if it is food, is it a singular or plural? Food cannot be calculated in singular or plural, so it is to be taken in a neuter gender. So always it agrees was a singular verb. So food was plus being, yes, plus, what's the V3 for cook? Very good. V3 for cook, it's cook is V1, V2 for cook is cooked, and again V3 for cook is cooked. So the V3 form for cook is cooked. So here we have to take cooked, C-O-O-K-E-D, cooked plus, what is the immediate word that is accepting here? Very good, it is by, plus subject. What is the subject that is provided for us? Anu. Definitely correct, exactly, it's Anu. Now when you read the sentence, it is like this: food was being cooked by Anu. Okay, food was being cooked by Anu. This sentence I got it according to the passive voice structure, and finally I say that this is my passive voice for the given active voice in the given respective tense and according to the pattern of the sentence. And what pattern of the sentence did I deal just now? Very good, it is the positive sentence that I dealt with. Okay, now see, now what do we do? Try to remove all the pluses in between. So when you remove the pluses, this structure is quite clear for you, and food was being cooked by Anu. So guys, from this you might have understood that was cooking gets converted into was, or were cooking gets converted into was or were plus being cooked. Okay, this is the actual structure that we are supposed to follow in past continuous tenses. If it is present continuous tense, instead of was, is or are took place. Okay, so if it is cooking food, when it comes to passive voice, is cooking food gets become is being cooked food. But now in fact we are dealing with past continuous tenses, hence was cooking food got converted into was being cooking food. So this is a very important area we have to take notice. Being is to be activated when an active voice of continuous tense gets converted into passive voice. Okay, now shall we do one more example to understand it more clearly? Definitely we are going to do it. Now this time I would like to change the object number. I would like to change the plural object. Okay, all right. Active voice, Anu was solving maths problems. This is my sentence. Anu was solving maths problems. In my previous sentence, the sentence was quite simple. It's saying the sentence is saying that Anu was cooking food. Everyone can cook food, but in fact everyone cannot solve maths problems. And now if you have the will, there is a way. If you learn all the simple techniques to learn mathematics and solve it, you too can solve it. Don't worry, not only Anu, we also can solve the mathematical problems. This is just for an example I have taken. So guys, one more example that is provided on the board. In our first example, the object is quite singular, but in my second example, the object that I took is a plural object. Now when you split it into the structure, Anu stands for subject, was solving stands for a verb, and maths problems stands for object. What object is this? Very good, it is a plural object. What object is this? It's a plural object. Very good. Now I want to convert this active voice into passive voice. For this I am already provided with my relevant structure. My structure is object plus was or were plus being plus V3 plus by plus subject. Okay, this is my example. Now instead of object, so you tell me what structure is this actually? What is the structure to? Exactly, this structure is to passive voice, converting this active voice into passive voice. Okay, this is not an active voice structure, this is a passive voice structure. So the structure is object plus was or were plus being plus V3 plus by plus subject. Alright, now I am gonna substitute the respective words in the structure place. Okay, in place of object, what is supposed to place here? Very good, it's maths problems. Maths problems plus was or were. Remember, though it's an object there in the active voice, but when it comes to passive voice, the object becomes subject. So there should be some agreement between the object and the verb. I mean the subject and the verb that is following it. Okay, so if it is a singular object, always it accepts was, and if it is plural object, it accepts were. This is to singular and this is to plural. Again see, maths problems means how many? Is it a singular or plural? Yes, it's a plural object. So maths problems were, because it's plural we are adopting were here, were plus being plus V3 of solve. V3 of solve. See, my main verb here is solve. My V1 verb here is solve. What is the V2 form for V3? Sorry, V2 form for solve. Very good. It is solved, but not no solven. Okay, it's not solven. So solve, solved, solved. Even V3 also it is solved. So the required form of verb for us here in this area is solved plus by plus subject. What is the subject that we are speaking about? Anu. Very good, it is Anu. Okay, suppose I would like to change the subject here as Asha. What should you do? Here also you should change your subject. Now Anu has become Asha. So now you can read the sentence. Maths problems were being solved by Asha. So this is my actual example for conversion of active into passive voices, and this is my formed passive voice. Now try to remove all the places that are mentioned in between the sentence, in between the word and word. Now you read it, how beautifully it has been organized, right? So maths problems were being solved by Asha. This is our actual formation of passive voice for positive past continuous active voices. Okay, the positive past continuous active voices got converted into positive past continuous passive voices. So in terms of tenses, we can convert active voices into passive voices very easily. Now we have discussed about how to convert the positive active voices into positive passive voices. Now let's discuss how a negative active voices of the respective continuous tense gets converted into negative passive voice. For this we have got few beautiful examples, students. I hope you have noted it, right? Very good. So we have got few beautiful examples. Let us discuss those examples. They are quite interesting for us. So let's take some live examples, what usually happens at home. And we are going to do some negative sentences here, right? So negative sentences. My dad was not taking breakfast. My dad was not taking breakfast. My dad was not taking breakfast. This is my sentence in negative sense. So this not indicates that this past continuous tense active voice is indicated in negative sense. Now I would like to convert this into negative passive voice. For a negative active voice, see, for a positive active voice, there is a positive passive voice. Okay, in the same way, for a negative active voice, there is a negative passive voice. This is what you have to understand. For a positive active voice, there is a positive passive voice. For a negative active voice, there is a negative passive voice. Okay, so in fact we are going to deal with this zone. Now I would like to give the structure for negative passive voice, that is, my dad was not taking breakfast. Now let me split this sentence according to the structure. My dad is the subject, was not taking is actually the verb that's going to help me here to convert this active voice into passive voice, and next breakfast is termed as an object for me. Okay, of course breakfast is the name of the meal that we eat in a day, right? A light snacks or tiffin that we take early in the morning, the meal that we take in the early morning, that's called as breakfast. Of course that is a noun, the name that we have given for the respective meal of the particular day. So I call this breakfast in my parts of speech as common noun. So I got my noun immediately after my verb, so I read that as my object. Now I would like to convert the total sentence into my passive voice according to the structure that we learned for continuous tenses. Only one thing what we have to notice is, if it is a positive sentence, we have nothing to do with not, but now it's a negative sentence. So if you insert not in the structure that is provided for us for the positive sentences, a negative structure of passive voice is entirely formed. That's very simple, and let's see how it's going to work out. And bring object in the first place, object plus, I would like to use the breakfast here. taking the breakfast, the breakfast. For my comfortability of construction of sentences, I would like to take the breakfast. Now this, I consider this as my object. Now see, in the passive voice pattern, the structure pattern is this way: object plus was or were plus not. We just, because there is not here in the active voice, so we also have to include not in the active voice. That's in the past continuous tenses. Okay, not plus being plus V3 plus by plus subject. It's very simple. Object plus was or were plus not plus being plus V3 plus by plus subject. Now in place of object, what are you supposed to take? Exactly, we are going to take certain verbs that really matches us from the given sentence, right? Because we are converting this particular sentence into passive voice, so we have to pick up some required information from this sentence only, not from any other sentence which is not useful for us right now. Okay, take the object, that is breakfast. Now my object is this, the breakfast. So the breakfast here, that object, when it comes to passive voice, I already told you that it gets converted into subject. So there should be some agreement with the subject and the verb that is going to take part beside it, right? So the breakfast, how can you consider this as a singular or plural? Yes, it's a singular subject, because the breakfast, there's no plural for that. It's a neuter gender, right? So always it has to be agreed with the singular subject. So the breakfast was, this is the object, and this is was or were combination according to the subject that we are taking, plus not plus being plus V3. V3 for take. What is the V3 for take? This is my V1, is my existing verb. Take is my existing verb. So for this, my V2 is took and my V3 is taken. So take, took, taken. So according to the answer, I would like to take taken as V3. Taken plus, this is my V3, plus by plus subject. What is the subject that we have here? My dad. So write my dad as it is. The breakfast was not being taken by my dad. Simple. See how, what a lovely sentence we have got here. So, according to the sentence formed here is structure. According to the structure, the sentence that got existed is this: the breakfast was not being taken by my dad. Very simple, right? Now for the easy understanding, just try to remove all the pluses that are provided in our sentence. Try to remove all the pluses. When you remove all the pluses, now you can see a complete sentence with a sense. The breakfast was not being taken by my dad. How did he get this? By means of the structure that is provided to us as a rule. Okay, so students, this is my actual question. My dad was not taking breakfast, and final, when it got converted into passive, it has become this way: the breakfast was not being taken by my dad. This is a negative sentence, in past continuous tense. Okay, so we have converted a negative past continuous tense active voice into negative past continuous tense passive voice. Okay, now all right, so far we have dealt with the singular object. Let us see what happens when we take a plural object. I am going to take a plural object here by means of another example. Then we can see how a plural object can get converted into a passive voice sentence. Okay, I hope you understood this solved. So I need not keep it on the board because you already knew the rules and regulations of these particular forms of verbs. Once you understand the formation of forms of verbs, the formation of structures in the tenses, and the active voices, conversion of active and passive voices, conversion of direct and indirect speeches, this becomes quite easy for you, and no one can beat you out at the time of examinations, and easily you can score your points at competitive examinations in a less span of time. Okay guys? Okay, now let's take the example for past continuous tense in the negative sentence, taking the plural object. The baker was baking cakes. This is my example. The baker was baking cakes. This is my past continuous tense example. Now I want to convert this into negative sentence. What should I use? Yes, I am supposed to use not. So it can be like this. The baker was not baking cakes. Okay, so this is my negative sentence. All right, now I would like to convert this into passive voice. For this, the first and foremost rule what I supposed to follow, that is to convert this, split this sentence according to the structure. The baker is the subject, was not baking is the verb, cakes is the object. Subject, verb, object. This is how I got it, right? Now I want to convert this plural object. Cake means singular, cakes means plural, right? Cake is singular, cakes are plural. So I have taken a plural object for my convenience to show you the example with plural agreement at the time of passive voice. Alright? Now, again I am going to put the same structure for us, that's object. When an active voice gets converted into passive voice, this is the structure that we have to follow for continuous tenses, right? If it is past, we use was or were. If it is present, we use is or else am. That's with I. Let's see, object plus was or were plus being plus V3 plus by plus subject. This is the structure we have been following right from the beginning. Yes? Okay. Now, object. What is the object in the sentence? Very good. That is cakes. Let us bring the object front. Cakes. Okay. You know very well that we are dealing with past continuous tenses, right? So we have nothing to do with is or are here in this area. So most of the time we have to fling to was or were. So cakes means what subject is it speaking about? Very good. That is a plural subject. So always go with were. So cakes were. Okay. plus bring the being as it is down, being plus what's the V3 for this? V3 for bake, bake. This is the V1, baked. V2 and V3 also baked. You should know this. If you don't know this, then your total passive voice goes wrong. Okay, you can find the error there if you don't, you are not thorough of this particular forms of verbs. Okay, so whatever the verb you come across, try to put that verb into 5 forms of verbs. Then it's very easy for you to deal with the rest of the examples and the sentences. So we are going to take the V3 form for bake, that is baked, baked plus. Immediately after V3 form, what is coming here? What takes place? Very good, that's by plus. What is the subject that we are speaking about in the sentence? What is the subject that we took here? The baker. Very good. The baker. Full stop. So this is my formed sentence according to the structure that is provided to me. Now see how beautifully it has been organized here for all of us. If you have, I know everyone is fond of cakes. Don't you like cakes? Recently chocolate cakes, cool cakes are very much famous. So I love eating cool cakes a lot. So my cake sentence example is going to help me over here. So active voice sentence, negative sentence got converted into passive voice negative sentence, making the object as the plural here. I would like to show you the difference of these two particular things, two particular word, two particular examples. Okay, so I happen to take this plural object. Of course everybody feels like eating cakes more. I know your mouths are really watering, so don't bother. After you finish these classes, you can go for a cafeteria and have some cakes and eat it. Buy some cakes and enjoy with your friends.